What's cracking, chickadees? I'm Dave. TM dude now. So there's finally some news, some good news on the TM 300 home front, and they run now. We finally figured it out. They are on par with strong running KTM XCW 300. So what changed? What do we do? The reed cage changed. This is the one out of the bike, and I mentioned one time how absolutely ridiculously large it was. This is actually one that V-Force made for the Honda CR500. And this is the one out of the KTM 300, which is a real good size. So we actually just adapted the KTM one to an adapter plate and put it on the TM. And that got the intake velocity way up where it needed to be, because you've gone from such a small hole to such a jump in a small time. You lose all intake velocity, and then you can't fill the cylinder, and that gives you the big hole on the bottom. So this actually was the radical change. Then you could really sit down and remap it for something good, and then we added just a little bit of compression to it, and voila, a whole different bike. What did you think about that? What did you think about that? That is a hell of a gain, and that is mostly intake velocity changed absolutely everything. If you can't get it in there, you can't process it, you can't even recapture it, what's not there in the pipe, and try to shove it back in there. So we know something big time now, and finally the ECU programming really came into it. Also, there's some compression added there. There's another caveat to this whole thing, which is, you know, it's possible that you've heard about these horrible floods that are in Washington right now, where I live. You know, bridges breaking, people getting displaced, stranded, once in 100-year floods. Well, take a look at my backyard. This is right outside the shop. A week ago, there was no water there. The only reason I point that out is because it's 100% humidity out now when I'm running this, which stifles the power. When I had the run before, that was in June. That was about, I mean, I live right by the ocean, but it was in June and it was much hotter and drier. So in my notes, it's a 24% humidity. So most of this, you know, oxygen is replaced with water now, which stifles the power. You can't really control that aspect in the dyno that much. So yes, it is lower power than it would have been if it was a day-to-day thing. So keep that in mind. Now, I'm going to show you some other things. The best 300SX I ever had, the time that I was going to go to Bonneville, let's put it up against that. Let's put it up against the stock 300SX when I brought it home, and let's put it up against the best running XCW I ever had. Okay, here's our gain we had stock, obviously huge, big on peak, all the way up, 36 to 42, pretty consistent 8 all the way up. The throttle response in the bottom end that's your big gain. When you're out riding it, that's what you want. This wide open stuff is cool, but there's no more holes in the power, it's a straight line, and the bottom end response to get up and go is spectacular. What I'm gonna do now is, so we know that was big. Let's just take this thing versus the 300SX when I first brought it home. Orange, yep, orange is stock. Now let's keep in mind that this, you know, this is modified. This is the best we can throw at it now, this TM. So but you would buy it this way. Like if I was to sell you this bike, you know, I wouldn't sell you a stock bike. I would sell it to you like this. So versus that, it's a beaten. Now let's compare it to the modified, that SX, the best I ever had that thing going. Now the Mod SX, you know, obviously whoops it up. However, you know, you've got another $700-800 worth of work into that thing. Now let's put the best running XCW I had on it, which has also had the work into it Obviously, the best running SX is a full-on ass whooping, but you know, you got $700-800 into that thing. Actually, you had more than that at that point. The best running XC, it's got better bottom than anything, but you've lost your top, but that also had that extra money into it. Well, it's nice to see things moving along, coming forward. It's also nice that now you probably will have a real player with a new bike in America. It's really starting to come along. If you wanted something like this, I would build it for you and sell it to you as a done deal. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great day.